They're going to ride on board with Joey Haynes right here, our current leader. It's all going to unfold right in front of them.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's like a video game. It is, well, I mean, I say that, but you know what I mean. It's just zipping past cars. It's like he's playing some arcade game there and just blasting past them one after another as they all wreck around him.
I mentioned how aggressive Hovdal was through the GTO traffic on the lap before, and here he's going to try to go around the outside, which he's already in the dirty air, and just barely hangs on to it. Bill with another poor exit out of turn one. You got to think the over-under has got to be coming at some point, but no. Neil Kemp's going to try the long way around turn two. What a battle here for the 6th place position. Neil Kemp has half a car over Bill Tyler, but they're going to take it side by side into the short break zone. This could be disaster right here, but Bill Tyler thankfully backs out of it.
Will he get both of these spots, or will it be Kimo or Gernot through the first corner, out of that one, and now it's going to be 3 wide as they come up to the next braking zone.
Watch Leno right here. He's going to have the best draft off the back of Kimo, but Gernot's going to take it wide around the outside. He's going to have great traction coming off of this corner.
Who's going to get the exit? That's going to be so critical. Oh, no, banging wheels.
We're almost to that point. Antonio Alvarez is 5 seconds back, so it's only going to be 4 cars. But my goodness, it's a 4-car fight now for the 7th position.
Oh no, this is too wide through the jam. This doesn't work well. Fabian Jungbluth is going to have to take a course cut. That's going to be a slowdown penalty. Aitor Sintes Galindo keeps on rocking. That's going to be Xavier Sanchez and Ross Banfield now taking it too wide on Aitor Sintes Galindo. He doesn't have a time to breathe out there.
Nobody has a time to breathe. Sintes Galindo fighting off the battle from Jungbluth. Now he's under pressure from Banfield. Xavier Sanchez looking on in the back, and Jungbluth is now caught up because of these guys going too wide. Everyone's a little slow right now. They've lost a full 1.5 seconds to Antonio Alvarez. Now it's almost going to be 3 wide into the braking zone for the next right-hander. And they make a little contact.
Just a little bit of contact puts 2 wheels of Banfield out on the dirt, and the defense of Aitor Sintes Galindo. Write this down. This is one for the ages, folks. He is still in that 7th position.
There's a bear in the woods.
Right, come on you fatty. Come on fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of...
That was like, oh,
you know. Sangers, James, Sangers I've got.
my pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on! Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys. Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it.
I might be going mad. Want to see me underwear?
Drop points will eventually help him make up the gap if he keeps up these impressive performances. Let's see how he handles the notorious bumps of Sebring as we get ready to watch round 5 of the Porsche Owners Club Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. A track that has been happy hunting grounds for Porsche in the past, Sebring is a perfect home for sports cars. Let's head to our track guide to learn more. Welcome to Sebring International Raceway. Home to the 12 Hours of Sebring, one of the most grueling tests in endurance racing, this is a track which has earned a fearsome reputation among drivers. The circuit itself is located on the southeastern edge of the city of Sebring, Florida, and was built out of Hendricks Army Airfield shortly after World War II. 3 layouts are currently in use, ranging from 1.7 to 3.7 miles in length. The longest course, which is perhaps the most well-known with it being the one used for the famed endurance race, shockingly still contains portions of the original airfield surface. It's this aspect which has become a signature feature of the track, making it extremely bumpy for racing. Sunset Bend in particular nearly shakes cars apart while they attempt to navigate the high-speed 180-degree corner. As you'd expect for the side of an airfield, there's nearly no elevation change over the course of a lap, but many of the curves are dramatically tall and unforgiving, daring drivers to glance them yet not hit them directly. Thankfully, places to pass are plentiful, including spots like the Hairpin and Cunningham. However, the many fast, sweeping turns creates a dilemma for car setup, since a vehicle that's made too stiff could wind up bottoming out on the onerous bumps. In the end, if you have the wherewithal to withstand the track's rough nature, you're likely to fare well. And since Florida fans almost always show up in huge numbers to witness this test of car and driver, you'll have plenty to impress at this legendary North American road course. Well, it's going to be a little dark here towards the end of this one, but for now, we can at least see around this beautiful track here, DJ.
We can indeed, and these drivers are going to need their full field of vision to make sure they get everything right around here today, as this Sebring circuit may be flat as a board, but it is bumpy as all get out, and it can really throw a big problem for drivers if they're not careful. Look for some of the main overtaking opportunities being going down into the hairpin as well into turn 1. You can see some aggressive moves going down into Cunningham and into Tower, but for the most part, that's going to be reserved towards more the end of the race. Look for, though, one of the most crucial runs you can get coming through Jean Debienne, down through Le Mans, and on the Ullman Straight. That is going to be the most crucial place to get a run, Joe.
No doubt. Well, before we get to the racing itself, we, of course, want to remind you of the series sponsor, which includes Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Game Changer Wealth, helping you become a game changer with wealth. Contact today at GameChangerBR.com or 225-664-2565. Now, as for the championship, right now it's once again heavily weighted towards Tom Layton with 3 wins and a second place. But as I said, watch out for Chinichi. You can see he's now up into the top 10 with his 2 podiums right off the bat. And he seems to be fast today. Michael Johnson, not as quick here today, but he's been consistent as he was last season, looking to try and hold on to that second spot in the points. Marc Rondeau finally got his first podium, and he gets himself into 3rd with that. So a lot of interesting storylines going on in the points, even this early in the season. What about for the race details here, DJ? What are we up against?
Well, Joe, it's going to be another one of our sprint races here tonight for round 5 of 12. So that means 30 minutes of qualifying and 30 minutes of race time out on track. All drivers are out going to be in the Porsche 992 Cup cars here at this point, which means no traction control and no ABS. That's something we're going to be talking about. But fixed setup, that is going to be the key here. Everybody running in the same kind of machinery, everybody running in the same setup of the car, so the only difference is going to be what's behind the wheel.
Absolutely, and these are pretty raw cars, these Cup cars, so you certainly need good control over the course of the race. We've seen that already this season, that the drivers are up against it, and have a completely different beast to try and tackle. 7 minutes left. Leighton holds the provisional pole. Shinichi is in second, but he's been having trouble out there with most of his laps not counting. And I've noticed he seems to have some internet problems. We'll hope and cross our fingers that that clears up, because he's got to make up about 0.7 of a second just to tie up with Tom Leighton here on the timing sheets for qualifying. So clearly some work to be done.
Yeah, clearly some works to be done here at this point. He's going to have to try to push his way ahead. Shinichi, certainly a driver of talent. We know just how much speed he's got. He's going to bring the car now through that all-crucial sequence of corners that I talked about. Jean de Bienne down through Le Mans right now, trying to carry as much momentum as possible. Here they go, bringing it now onto the main straightaway, onto the back straightaway here. Shinichi's got a moment to breathe.
So right now I'm showing him not putting in a great lap. So this might be a warm-up lap or an out lap or something here. And he's going to try and get a flyer in this next time by. So not expecting him to light the world on fire. And it does look like he's trying to back up the final corner right here as well, as he flies on the front stretch and uses up every inch of that newly paved exit there coming off the final turn. That one did count, but as I said, that was a slow lap for him. So here we go. He starts a new one. Also, want to mention there on the tower, you can see Cigar Dewan currently sitting third. He's done decently this season, but it's been a bit up and down, and he hasn't been on the podium since the first round. So we'll wait to see if the 501 can finally finish in those top three once again, because right now he is sitting in that third spot with about 1/10.5 to try and catch up to Andrew.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot to have to keep in mind, though. He's got some very quick drivers coming from behind him if things were to finish the way that they do right now, including Mark Rondeau, Michael Bolton, Chad Duncan. And let's not forget about the last time's winner we visited this circuit, Michael Johnson, currently in 5th place right now, about a second off of the lead. But Michael is a self-proclaimed better racing driver than he is a qualifier. So we'll have to see as Edward Nelson now comes up, bumps Cigar Dewan down, and Nelson's going to find himself in P3.
The plot thickens. Ed Nelson, I believe, has not raced as much this season. In fact, I don't think we've seen him at all this season. Double checking that. Yeah, this is his first time out here in 2023. But the number one car clearly has his feet underneath him. Dewan not able to improve on a 2:03.5. He's about 1/10 off that time. Shinichi's just finishing his lap. Oh, and he's looking like he might improve by 0.3 here.
Ooh, that could be a good run here for Shinichi. Indeed, he was fastest out of anyone through the 3rd and 4th microsectors out on this track. He's really got only one more corner to go here at this point. He's got to bring it into Sunset. You want to carry as much momentum as you can into the corner and out of the corner. Let's see which line he decides to take. He's going to keep it nice and narrow there. That is technically the faster line, Joe, but there are big bumps down to the inside you got to watch out for. Shinichi runs across the line. It's going to be an improvement up to pole position.
It's definitely more than 0.3 of a second that he improved there. My goodness, he's taken it away from Tom Leighton, who is still out on track. So purple for the number 7. And that surprised both of us, I think, there, as we're still waiting for Nelson, Dewan, Rondeau to sort out that 3rd position. There is currently only less than 1/10 of a second between those three. So it's extremely tight outside of that front row. This could be a very good race for the top spots tonight.
Yeah, it certainly has the potential to really be that way here at this point. Shinichi and Leighton trading back and forth. Edward Nelson putting a good run in there. Very close, as you said, between himself, Dewan, Rondeau, and Johnson, only about 0.2 of a second back behind them. Let's see here if Leighton's going to be able to get anything. The other thing to keep in mind here, Joe, is that drivers who are able to get a nice toe coming down the Ullman Straight, that's going to be a big help to them.
Yeah, and we were watching that before we came live. That is what gave Tom Leighton the fastest lap time in practice. He had a lot of toes on his quickest lap. and he was able to beat Shinichi in that. But where it counts is both here in qualifying and then in the race. Leighton not quicker that time through. I think he knew that was a poor lap, so he had kind of backed himself up and is now on a flyer, but I think he just went off the circuit, and that's going to delete that lap. He's only got time for one more after this.
Yeah, he has got to try to bring it all back together. We give a look here to Cigar Dewan, currently in 4th place. Again, just 0.02 of a second off of Edward Nelson right now as he runs around. Now, that's Mehmet Karasay that is going to be running around. Excuse me. That is going to be Matt Hollander that's running around behind him. And indeed, Cigar is going to get out of the way and let him go on through.
Shinichi got held up at the end of the last lap, so he backs it up and starts his final flyer. Takes about 2 minutes to get around here in these things, so drivers who are just starting their laps are at least going to be have a chance to do one more, but there are a few that are on their final already. Michael Johnson, as you mentioned, who is struggling a bit in qualifying today, once again, is only in 6th spot. Last time we were here, he managed to take the win by being ahead of Tom Leighton and playing defense for part of it. So I wonder if Michael won't be able to repeat that feat unless he gets a really lightning start at the beginning of this race.
I mean, he may have to. He's going to have to try to do everything he can do here at this point to try to gain in a little bit more, but I'm not sure how much success he's going to have. We watch Matt Hollander here in that Flying Lizard Motorsport machines, hearing a couple of great things out of the real-life Flying Lizard team this year. They've got multiple entries in multiple series, so good to see them coming back. But Hollander right now trying to improve on a 204.226. He's going to dive it down into the corner. Cigar Dewan hoping to get a nice little benefit of the draft off of him.
I remember this is a lap that's going to be deleted for Tom Leighton, so regardless, it won't count. And now he starts his last one. Shinichi, unfortunately, had some sort of issue. I saw him going slow on this lap, so he's going to be out of time as we get the last couple drivers able to cross here. Looks like Federico Del Toro thinks going to be the first to get the checkered flag. No, he crossed just in time to start his last running lap, and that means that Jeff Schulem here in this blue car, the 371, is going to be your first driver to get the checkers. I'm showing him as not improving right now, so I don't think this is going to be any higher than 9th for him.
No, I don't think it is, as the 371 is going to cross over the famous checkered lines painted there on the concrete. He's going to go off. Oh, Tom Leighton's had a problem. Tom Leighton's taking a tow back to the pits. He's not going to be able to get a time.
He's only going to have to start second. That's not going to be the end of the story here, obviously, but he's going to have to get a good start to try and overtake Shinichi early on. Or else have to make a real race of it. Dylan Scott, no quicker for him, unfortunately. Larry Haas going to be the next one in the number 22, and I am showing him half a second up, or in the number 13, rather, I should say.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time to be able to go there. It's certainly looking like he's got a little bit of speed here. Here they go. Larry Haas bringing the car now out of Le Mans. Is he have damage?
He does. I was going to say exactly. As soon as I heard you hesitate, I was like, oh, he saw what I saw. The big dent in the front of the car. But he's not letting it slow him up. I guess maybe he didn't have time to come in and get another car, because you can do that here in qualifying in iRacing. Oh, he's very wide around the corner, but he's still about a second up from what I'm showing. So will this be a better lap? Yes, it is, a 2:08.5, but it doesn't improve his position. He'll stay 22nd.
Stay there back at the field. Also looks like Matt Hollander has called it a little bit of quits there as we now watch the 127 of Michael Bolton working his way around and through. Let's see if Bolton's going to be able to pick up any time here. I'm not seeing a whole lot of improvement on this lap as he's going to cross over the stripe here. Now, looks like he's going to gain one spot up to 6th.
2:03.8 for him. So he actually pipped Michael Johnson in that. So that won't sit well with the number 10, who's going to have another car to pass here before we get to the finish if he wants to take another victory at this race. Looks like the grid is set. Let's go through our starting order for today's race. It is Andrew Chinichi who has put it on the pole. He's still looking for that first win in this series after getting a third and a second already. Tom Layton will start from P2, and Edward Nelson will begin in P3. Cigar Dewan is good enough for the outside of that second row. Mark Rondeau starts from 5th, and as we saw, Michael Bolton at the final calling was able to jump into 6th position. Michael Johnson is going to have to try and use that notorious racing prowess to get up from 7th and get another podium, because he hasn't finished off the podium this whole season. He missed last race, unfortunately, but we won't count that since he wasn't here to try and miss the podium. Jad Duncan was 8th in qualifying. Jeff Shulam was 9th, and Doug Baccignone is going to round out your top 10.
Starting off in 11th, it's going to be BJ Fulton with Matt Hollander flanking him in P12. Then in row 7, it's Jacob Abrams and Federico Del Toro. Dylan Stott lines up in 15th, followed by Dhruv Chwala, and then it's going to be Mark Bray and Mehmet Karasay in row 9. Michael Roban will be 19th, and then John Momeyer in 20th.
21st is going to be Mike Parsons with Larry Haas in 22nd. Jim Walsh last on the field in 23rd. I do believe Jim is a newcomer as well. So a couple drivers arriving for the first time. I've been very glad to see that has been the case for a good bit of the season now, as we get drivers who might not have a chance at the championship necessarily, but are definitely going to give us a little bit more excitement, because the more the merrier. Looks like we might already have everybody out there checking to see, and nope, we're still missing Jim Walsh, but everybody else has lined up. Hoping that Chinichi's connection issues have firmly cleared up at this point, because I haven't seen him disconnect recently. So crossing fingers, because we'd like to see a race up at the front, somebody that can challenge Layton.
Yeah, indeed. We've seen so much dominance here from Tom Layton, and no disrespect there to the number 12, but as racing fans, we always just like to see somebody challenging and having a good run there through the rest of the field.
There we go. Everybody out on the grid. So they have relatively cool conditions, which is only going to continue to cool as the sun goes down here in Florida. And will that affect them if they start to lose visibility? Have the drivers practice their evening racing. Looks like the pace car is ready to peel in. Chinichi will have control of the fields. Waiting patiently on it, and the green flag is out, and he's on it. Looks like Tom Layton is going to try and stick with him up to the first corner, but he's not going to have his nose fully alongside as they get to the braking. Layton falls back. Nelson dives into the first turn. Oh, a little deep there for Chinichi, and cutting back underneath, Layton is going to give another go at things.
He's going to have a look here coming into turn 2. He's got the inside line as they now work their way through the corner, managed to avoid contact. Almost cutting off there was Chinichi, but Layton continues to keep his nose to the inside. Chinichi with a big snap of oversteer, able to gather it up back underneath him, and now here comes Layton in the draft.
Track position important to both of them, apparently, as they are fighting hard here right at the start. Layton trying to go around the outside now, deep under braking, down to the first turn, and going across them. That was Michael Johnson overshooting the corner. Doesn't hit anybody, but it did cost Tom Layton a spot as Rondeau slipped through.
Yeah, and that was great heads up there from Mark Rondeau to be able to get that. I'm not sure what happened to Michael Johnson a little bit farther back down in the pack. It looked like he just ran into some trouble, but now we're seeing a full 4-car breakaway here with Chinichi, Rondeau, Layton, and Nelson.
Wow, that must have been from way back in the mid-pack that he came through. Maybe some cold tires and cold brakes there from Michael Johnson as he falls all the way to 22nd. Speaking of the mid-pack, look at this, down into Tower, as there is nothing separating the fields halfway through this first lap, as guys like Fulton, Duncan, Hollander, Chawla, and Dewan basically nose to tail.
Yeah, everybody running very close here, and I think it's only going to remain a little bit closer as things continue to go along, and as we continue to run our way through. That's a little bit of side-by-side. That's the number 69 of Matt Hollander getting a little bit aggressive there with BJ Fulton, as now they come back onto the Ullman straight. That's the 20 off to the inside there. That's Dhruv Chwala, I think, trying to be able to make up a couple of positions.
Yeah, Cigar had no place to go, completely boxed in. He's going to stay peeking to the inside. In fact, he's going to send it deep, but I think Drew might be a little too deep. He keeps it out of the wall, but instead of gaining a position, he loses 3.
And that's going to be unfortunate there for him. Still, thankfully, about 27 minutes left in this race. He's got plenty of time to try to make it all back up here as they continue to work their way down the main straightaway here. Looks like Dylan Scott trying to think about a little bit of a move there up ahead of him on Cigar Dewan.
Oh, we had a problem with Leighton. Down in turn 3. He made an attempted pass on Rondeau, and it went bad.
Oh my goodness, the number 12. This may be one of the few times we've seen him finish outside of the top 3 here, Joe. The only other time I can really think of is VIR when he had that sort of freak accident that happened to him on the backstretch.
Oh my goodness. An uncharacteristic mistake for him. Not sure exactly what caused that, other than I just looked over him real quick because it seemed like the timing tower was moving around, and I saw him go sailing up the inside as the 9 is off the track and trying to get himself righted at the hairpin as well. That is John Momeyer, who falls to the back of the field. Leighton goes all the way to 22nd. Michael Johnson has recovered in this one lap that he's had racing back to 17th. All sorts of action, and I think hopefully it's calmed down at this point enough that we can start to look at some of the replays from the opening lap, as well as now lap 2. We've got some stuff to go over. So here we go. I understand we had an accident right at the start. This is into turn 3 here.
All right, so that's Drew coming down to the inside. That's the 27 that gets spun around there. That's Federico Del Toro. I think there just a little bit of miscommunication there with the 946 of Mark Bray, and that's going to find them pointed the wrong way.
Oh, it was a brilliant start for Michael Johnson. There is behind him the 501. Unfortunately, having some issues. Cigar Dewan having to collect it up there for a brief moment. And then we saw the puff of smoke from Michael Johnson. So he was up to 4th. I thought he was still back in 7th. A brilliant start, kind of thrown away, unfortunately. Does he keep it out of the wall? Just barely.
Yeah, but I think he just had another issue here, Joe, as he just towed back down into pit lane. As there, we're going to take a look. That was the move by Shinichi on Leighton to be able to hold on to that top place position. And then this is the maneuver for Leighton. Just goes down to the inside and loses the car.
Almost looked like brake bias, or like he locked up the rears or something, because the rear of the car really snapped on him. And he kind of bailed to the inside. Johnson, I can tell you, I went back and checked. He had an accident down in Sunset Bend, and unfortunately, that took him out enough that he actually has DNF from this race. They do have a spare car, so I don't know why he didn't go take that, but apparently not happy with how it's running today.
No, not happy indeed. We are going to look a little bit farther back in the field right now. This is Jacob Abrams. This is now the battle for P3 now that Leighton has binned it. This is now the battle for the final podium spot.
Also, apparently, we've had a spin for Rondeau. Lost it through turn 3. Don't need to go there. Just kind of self-spun. And he went a long ways down to 15th position. Mistakes early on are proving quite costly. And this battle here, is Shulam out at Tower Corner facing the wrong way.
Yeah, and he's fallen down through the order there. I wonder if he maybe just looped the car a little bit on exit. We've talked a little bit just how tricky these bumps can be. As now Abrams has had a problem on the exit of Le Mans. He's now spun around facing the wrong way.
Oh, man, he had gained so many spots up to this point, and now they go trickling away through his fingers. And, he has a bit of an awkward re-entry onto the racetrack. Thankfully, the drivers coming up were heads up on that one. Well, this means now, just for everybody, so that in case you're confused as to what's going on, Shinichi leads, Nelson's in 2nd, and Michael Bolton has gotten into 3rd. But look at this, Cigar Dewan on BJ Fulton, trying to outbrake him down into turn 1. He's going to get his nose in, but watch out for Hollander behind them.
Yes, indeed. Hollander trying to be able to take the right line here, but Cigar Dewan not giving that up here on Fulton here at this point as they work their way through the corner. Somehow they managed to keep it all clean. Oh my goodness, and Cigar Dewan now going to be able to hold on to P5.
Fulton's still under threat. Hollander is still trying to see if he can peel away this P6 as they come down into the hairpin. Big defense from BJ Fulton, but he breaks a little bit earlier. Hollander trying to go the long way around, and oh, it's going to be difficult, but he is up for it, and he out-accelerates him off the turn. Job isn't completely done, but he's most of the way there.
Most of the way there. Let's see if he can get all of the way there here at this point as they try to go here. It does look like Hollander's going to be able to hold that line. Nothing Fulton can do. Also better change around from behind. Drew Chwala able to get a move done on Dylan Scott. There you see it on your screen.
Lots of dicing here today. This track has been action-packed, and certainly it seems to be a case of minimize mistakes, and you're going to have a good finish. But there's fewer and fewer drivers that can claim they've been mistake-free today.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Joe, you know, this is one of the most raced circuits on iRacing. I did not expect this level of slicing and dicing, beating and banging here at this point in the race, but drivers just have their elbows out. We're not seeing all that many careless mistakes necessarily. It is just intense action where drivers are racing side by side, and, well, you get a little bit put offline, and that's going to throw you off.
Here's Bolton with Doug Boccignone up 6 positions, thinking about maybe getting himself a podium here. Bolton managed to get into 3rd place back at round 2 himself, but is not visited in the previous 2 races, so he'll have to play defense unless Doug starts to fall off towards the end of the race. But up at the front, as I said, Shinichi leading. Nelson is the one that impresses me here in this first race of the season, and qualifying pretty darn well in 3rd and now running in 2nd.
Yeah, running a great lap here at this point to be able to keep himself up into that P2 position, and not by any small margin here. He's got about 4 seconds over Michael Bolton, and with 20 minutes left to go in this race, he frankly just needs to keep it on the black stuff, and he may be able to walk away with a good podium here.
Absolutely. So we'll see if he can do that. It's easier said than done, apparently, from what we've witnessed today. These cars, plus the bumps of Sebring, has caught a number of them out, as there is Shinichi now. Again, his trajectory was a 3rd, a 2nd, and he's looking like he might be able to continue it on to a 1st. And that is certainly going to help him tremendously in the championship. But where is Leighton after his early problem? He's in 14th, it looks like.
Yeah, he's down in 14th. He's got about 1.4 seconds to try to gain back on the back here of Mehmet Karasay. That's his next driver. And Karasay's in a little bit of a battle here with Mark Rondeau. Right about a second up ahead of him. Rondeau is in a closer battle with Michael Robin. So plenty of drivers here to pick off if you're Tom Leighton and just try to gain a few points back, I think, at this point.
Oh, well, we might have one coming up quick, because that, well, Rondeau's down to the inside slow, and Robin was slow on the outside. And indeed, not sure what's going on with Mark here. Looks like, is he going to let him through, or is he defending? He's not completely up to speed, but, oh, there he goes. Okay, he's going to let him by. So there's 2 more immediately. Leighton now up to 12th. That cost him a bit of time trying to be cautious as Karasay ran away by a few tenths.
Yeah, the gap's now up to about 1.1 second between Tom Leighton and Mehmet Karasay here at this point. So he's going to have a little bit more work to do. But we've got our eyes right now on Mark Rondeau trying to be able to claim back onto the back of Robin here as they fly down into turn 1. This has the potential to be a nice little battle.
A little wide there for Robin. He's going to be slow off the turn. Rondeau takes advantage, gets his car down to the inside, and takes the apex away at turn 3. Back into 11th for the number, or to 13th rather, for the number 11.
As they continue to try to get their way around here at this point. Looking to see, this is a little bit more of what I expected this race to be here, Joe. A little bit spaced out, drivers running about a second away from each other and really able to game back in on the pit stop cycle, or not on the pit stop cycle, game back in as a result of the draft down the back straightaway.
I was going to say, well, hopefully they don't have a pit stop cycle, or a lot of people got the fuel wrong out here today. BJ Fulton had a little bit of a spin coming out of turn 5, collected it up, but he fell down to 10th now because of it. That's going to be Drew and Dylan just in front of him that were able to make that overtake because of his error. Also, GSRC and Leighton already on top of each other. Leighton is certainly on a charge. He's got the red mist.
Yeah, he certainly does. Leighton knows that he wants to try to push his way forward. He wants to try to get up as much as possible, trying to get his way forward here on that number 78 of Mehmet GSRC. GSRC doing a great job trying to be able to get his way around, and there he goes. He's going to get on by.
Nicely done out of Le Mans. Ahead of them, Cigar Dewan just overtook Doug Baccignone. Remember, we saw Cigar qualify pretty high up there, and he's just returned to where he began this race in 4th position. Now he needs to set his sights on Michael Bolton, which is only about a second up the road, so not a huge gap to make up there. Beyond them, it gets to be a little bit farther apart.
Yeah, hearing some reports that Larry Haas has had a little bit of a spin farther back down in the field right now. But Doug Baccignone really doing a good job here. I thought he would have left off and had a little bit of a situation here where Cigar was able to streak off into the distance. But it doesn't look like Doug's letting him go. He's keeping that gap at about 6-7 tenths of a second, staying in draft range here crucially, and doing a very good job.
Dewan gaining on Bolton already. Remember, I said it was just over a second. Now it's about 3/4 of a second to that yellow machine. So clearly some good pace underneath the 5:01. He could get onto the podium here today and get himself another one. I think, he podiumed in the very first race of the season and back at Magny-Cours, but has not been up there on the 3 steps since then. So coming down to the braking of Tower, not seeing him make up through this part of the circuit. So maybe just a little bit better than the first half.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit better there. Bolton still being able to keep that gap away. And the crucial thing here is he wants to keep that gap as much over 1 second as possible. That's about where you're really going to feel the massive pull of the draft. You'll get a little bit of it at about 1.5 seconds away, but 1 second, that's where you're going to be able to really, really close down. And so Bolton, he's lost a little bit of time there coming through Le Mans to Cigar Dewan. It's down to about 9 tenths here at this point, so he's going to need a little bit more to gain back in.
Coming down into the braking and around out of Sunset Bend. Different lines between the pair of them for sure as they accelerate along the front stretch. Last time out, Dewan with a 2:03.5, Bolton with a 2:03.9, and that was Bolton's personal best. So Dewan's on the move. This is going to be a serious threat for the 127 as the 99 of Jim Walsh has found trouble at Le Mans.
Yeah, and that's about the second or third driver that we've seen having trouble there around that high-speed corner, Joe, and that's really just as a result of that lack of traction control, trying to get on the throttle a little bit too early and those rear tires spinning out on you. It's a very, very hard corner to manage, even though it looks like it's pretty simple.
Well, we've passed the halfway point. We've lost Del Toro and Johnson, but 21 drivers are still out on the track, and Shinichi is our current leader. Meanwhile, nice little mid-pack battle here being led by Dylan Scott. That's Fulton, Chawla, and, well, what do you know? Tom Leighton looking to crack into the top 10, which he does just now as Drew goes wide.
Yeah, Drew just having a little bit of an error there on the entrance into the hairpin, and now Tom Leighton says thank you very much. That'll move him up into the top 10, and he's now going to set his eyes up on the road here on BJ Fulton. But BJ's looking very, very aggressive onto the back of Dylan Scott right now.
Why do I get the sense that Drew's paint scheme it really should be on the number 13's car? I'm just... It feels like that'd be way more appropriate for Larry Haas to be running, but...
Yeah, it kind of does.
Look at this. Nice and tight to the back of Dylan Scott here. BJ Fulton saw Tom Leighton coming and said, oh, I got to hurry up. Oh, but he's much earlier on the brakes. Scott starts to stretch away. No, he's too late on the brakes as he goes deep down into Jean Debienne, and that's going to compromise him all through this sequence of corners.
Yeah, it is. He's going to be a little bit off the apex, a little bit wide coming out of Le Mans, and Tom Leighton once again saying, thank you very much. You make that mistake. I'm going to take advantage of it. And now he's going to put his eyes here on Dylan Scott. He's too far behind to get the move going down into Sunset, but he's still going to be close enough to put pressure here into turn 1.
Man, just he just about got all three of these cars in one lap. He was just shy of managing to overtake Dylan Scott here and moving himself into 8th. Yes, he has a number of laps left to go, but Leighton's still 24 seconds behind Shinichi, and Andrew's been lapping faster than him as we hop on board with our current reigning champion.
Yeah, just doing a great job of being able to piece back here from a very, very difficult start, it has to be said. Now he's going to bring his way through the left-hander, bringing back onto the straightaway here. He's only about 2.5 tenths of a second behind Dylan Scott right now. That may be enough to be able to get the toe and get the run into the hairpin, but I've got to think unless it's a surefire move, Leighton's not going to go for it. Exactly. Pokes his nose to the inside just to show it, and now he's going to be able to mount a more sustained attack.
As they head down through Fangio and towards Cunningham, Leighton still trying to play patient. He's not trying to throw this away. Yes, he wants to make up as many positions as he can, but he knows he can't afford too many mistakes this season, knowing that it's a shorter season. We only go through half the year as opposed to a full length like we did in the previous 2 seasons. Oh, and he is giving a big go down in the tower, but decides against it. And fewer drop weeks because of the shorter season. So Tom has to try and minimize how many times he falls back down the field like this.
Yeah, he's really got to watch out for it. He cannot run the risk of throwing away points here at this point, and he has got to try to make them up wherever he can when he's got a bad race like this, and that's exactly what he's looking to do. Has a little bit of a poke down to the inside there of Dylan Scott. Now he's going to go for it fully. I like what I'm seeing from behind there from BJ Fulton as he tries to take a little bit of that toe away, and now later on the binders goes Tom Leighton and move him up into P8.
Nicely done. 6 seconds to run down Jad Duncan, who's running 204.5 to 205 laps. Actually, it was a bad lap for Jad last time for some reason. He must have had some sort of off, which has helped Tom significantly enough that maybe he will have the pace to try and catch him up before this is over. That kind of took away one of our best battles. Other than that, only Dewan and Bolton are relatively close to each other at this stage for that 3rd place battle. That's cut down to half a second now.
Yeah, it's starting to come down here a little bit more, and it's under a half a second right now for 4th place as Cigar's really put the pressure to the back here of the 127.
So can he manage to take this spot away? This is down into Cunningham and into Collier. I believe, no, that's not lap traffic in front of them. They've run down Nelson a little bit. Oh, what happened here with Dylan?
It looked like there that he just misjudged the braking going down into the apex for the hairpin, and I think there, unfortunately, the Dhruv Chwala just kind of got wrapped up in it and had a little bit of incident fixation.
All right, well, BJ Fulton says thank you. I'll take 9th and run away as those two tangle with one another. Meanwhile, continuing to watch Dhruv. And now that he's back on track, Mark Rondeau just behind him. Dylan Scott falls a little farther back. Jacob Abrams making up from his early incident. He's back to 13th.
Yes, he is, and doing a good job to try to recover. That's where he started from. But, Joe, I think we've got a replay to check out some of that action.
All right. If we can get this settled out, down to the inside, forcing Michael Bolton wide coming out of the final turn. Cigar Dewan is on the attack. He doesn't get the job done, but he's making that 127 car think twice.
Yeah, he is. With 9 minutes left to go here in the race, not a whole lot of time to do it. He's going to take a narrower line coming through turn 1, just trying to be able to get as much as he can. Now he's going to look to what will be the outside. That's going to be Bolton taking the traditional racing line, and there up to the inside goes Cigar Dewan.
Deep dive, and Dewan is going to take it away from Bolton. That was a brilliant move, and Michael, to his credit, gave him space at the apex. I wouldn't have expected that car to be there.
I didn't either. He just recognized an opportunity. It's got to be said, Bolton was a little bit off the apex there, and Cigar recognized it and absolutely sent it. A brilliant move from the 501.
Well, now that he's got that done so quickly, I think we've got a chance to take a look at that replay of some of that action that we missed a little bit earlier with Dylan coming down into the braking Oh, yeah, just outbraked himself, clipped the grass. Oh, and same thing there, as unfortunately, looks like Drew got a little target fixation.
Yeah, I think just saw that car spinning off and missed his braking zone as a result of that. And that really was enough to just throw him around. We take a look a little bit farther back down in the field right now. This is, this is actually up at the front of the field. This is Chinichi working his way by some lap traffic.
Let's see, this time by, going to be 4 laps to go, I think, for these drivers. So, ooh, and big defensive move coming down the backstretch. Cigar must have had a mistake coming out of Le Mans. Bolton going to try and challenge him down to the inside as they look for the braking of this tricky, fast hairpin corner. And it looks like he might actually be able to get this one done, but he's going to tuck it down to the inside where there's more bumps. He feeds out ahead of him, and Bolton's got it back.
That was some aggressive stuff on corner exit there from Michael Bolton, just absolutely chucking the car to the outside and having complete and total faith there in Cigar Dewan that Dewan was going to back out of it. And I've got to give a lot of credit there to both drivers. As Dewan goes a little bit wide there on the exit of turn 1, he is really pushing.
Man, this has really come alive. May not have a battle for the top spot between Chinichi and Leighton like we expected, but the rest of the field has given us plenty of entertainment here this evening. And we're just getting flashes of that gray car ahead of him, Ed Nelson, again, about 2.5 seconds up the road. If they don't fight each other, it does appear to me that both Bolton and Dewan could actually run down P2.
I mean, looking over the last 5 laps, when they were battling, they only lost about 0.06 of a second off to Nelson here. Other than that, on average, they've been able to close in, let's call it about 0.4 of a second per lap. So they clearly have the speed. It's just a question of if they're able to work together to try to close up on Nelson here.
Also, I mentioned that I think it was like 5 seconds from Leighton to Duncan. Well, he's got it down to 1.6 now. So, yeah, Tom Leighton might be able to at least get to 7th place. I don't know if he'll reach Hollander in P6. Don't know if he has enough race left. It'll be tight if he does. And, in fact, Duncan just outbraked himself into Tower, and Leighton is through into 7th just now. There you see, that is Jad, who is going to lose more spots as BJ Fulton goes by.
Yeah, BJ is going to be able to gain that position. He's got to watch out from behind because Drew Chwala is not too far back, and that is a relatively high momentum section of the track. But I think here at this point, Jad has got about a 1.9 second advantage over him, so that's going to be, excuse me, good enough to be able to hold out to.
Absolutely. And 5 minutes left now as we come on to the main straight in that battle for 3rd. Dewan a little slow around Sunset Bend that time. Lost a couple of tenths to Michael Bolton. So after it looked like it was Cigar who was on the charge, Michael really lit a fire underneath himself and is basically taking it back with both hands.
Yeah, he certainly has. 1.5 seconds, that gap. I think Michael Bolton may have heard what we were saying about that broadcast, trying to close down on Edward Nelson, as indeed that gap's now about 2 seconds here, call it 2.2, as they exit out of turn 2 and down through Big Bend. Beautiful, beautiful stormy skyline there from iRacing. That was really stunning.
Yeah, very cool how we've got the very foreboding clouds. No rain yet here on iRacing. They haven't given us any info to tell us of a time frame yet, other than they're still working on it, so hashtag soon. But it still looks incredible here in Florida. I'm sure it's going to race incredible once we do get those tropical storms there down on the Panhandle, as we continue to watch Bolton and Dewan spread farther apart. It's now up to 1.2 seconds. Yeah, Bolton has picked it up.
Yeah, he really and truly has here. And just over the course of this lap alone, Joe, he's been able to cut about 2.5 tenths out of the advantage here from Edward Nelson. I think Bolton has had enough waiting around with Cigar Dewan. He has got the bit between his teeth. He wants P2.
Oh boy, this is going to be something else, because I think this is going to be, 2 to go at the line for these drivers. So if he can cut down, that's going to be, I guess, about a 3/4 of a second a lap. That's a tall ask. Not impossible, But a little mistake out of Nelson could make it happen. There's Shinichi now taking the 2 to go signal with a monstrous 10-second gap, actually.
Yeah, it's really, really growing here at this point, and setting the fastest lap of the race along the way, a 2:02.827 here being put down as we wait 9/10 of a second, taken out on that last lap by Michael Bolton, cutting into the advantage here from Edward Nelson.
Okay, that'll do it. I said he needed 3/4 of a second per lap. I don't know if Ed saw some sort of mistake on that one or not, but regardless, if that is the marker, then Michael is going to be there before we get to the checkered flag. And Dewan is definitely falling downwards. It's 1.4 seconds behind now. And checking in on Tom Layton, it's still 4.7 seconds up to Matt Hollander. I don't think Tom's going to be able to get that P6.
No, I don't think he is. It just looks like it's a little bit too much of a gap here at this point. Little bit of a battle going down for P11 between Mark Rondeau and Jacob Abrams. Keep our eyes there, as there you can see it. Abrams starting to close back in following that earlier spin.
He's not letting that mistake hold him back here. Rondeau just in front. Is Rondeau going to be behind? It looks like it. Great outbraking down into the hairpin, and a textbook move for Jacob Abrams as Rondeau gets demoted to 12th.
Yeah, and Abrams here, he doesn't have all that much to gain up here on Dhruv Chawla. If Dhruv makes a little bit of a mistake, he could find himself walking away with the top 10, which would be a great result here for him on the day.
Yeah, up 6 spots. A number of drivers have managed that. Matt Hollander as well, and Michael Roban has gained 6. Jim Walsh did as well, back in 17th. So a bit of a tie for hard charger. I've been watching Shinichi, and yeah, here we see him now, and he's blinked a little bit on this last lap. I really hope that this holds out. I'd hate to see him lose what's going to be a well-earned victory just by an internet connection. White flag, though, has been waved for our leader.
One more lap to go, and crucially here, watching on the last couple of sectors here for that battle for P2 that we've been keeping our eye on, Nelson responded. He was able to grow the gap by about 1/10 of a second, and so this may not be as cut and dry as we thought it was.
Yeah, that Bolton is probably a little too far back at this stage. At this point, he is reliant on Nelson having some sort of error during this lap to have a realistic shot. In fact, in the background, that was Bolton going a little wide. He himself might be pushing a bit too hard.
Yeah, I think he is just a little bit. That's going to be still a little bit too far. 1.4 seconds on the dive down into the hairpin. As I said, he's really got to be within about 7/10 of a second on an outside chance going down into sunset to have a realistic chance.
Honestly, credit to these top 4 in general, though. Between Shinichi, Nelson, Bolton, Dewan, we talked about how it's been a case of who makes the fewest mistakes, and these 4 have been pretty darn clean. It's going to reward them handsomely, including a podium for those top 3, as there is Shinichi on his way to his first win of the Porsche Owners Club Series and only his 3rd time trying. We certainly have earmarked him as one to look out for since he showed up. Just amazing speed. He's been a little bit snake bit, been slightly mistake prone as well. That cost him the better results in the first 2 rounds. This time, though, he has clamped down on that. Put it on pole. Had a little bit of a fight with Layton at the start, but kept the car clean where he needed to. And as the sun sets here through Sunset Bend, Andrew Shinichi will take the win in round 5.
A dominant drive here from Shinichi, absolutely remarkable. Behind him, Edward Nelson going to be able to hold on to P2 here. The gap has come down to a second, but that's of no mind to the number 1 as he crosses over and takes P2.
Michael Bolton with a valuable 3rd place. Hollander up 6, as I mentioned, will hold off with that 6th spot. Layton cut it down to about a second, but with not enough laps to try and gun him down, as this is Chawla in 10th, Jad Duncan in front of him, and all the different lines, every line you can think of through the corner with those cars, whoa, way to the outside, and it looks like Rondo's not able to catch up to Jacob Abrams for that 11th position. We did see all the drivers who were still running at the end, except for Mike Parsons, finish on the lead lap. Larry Haas is going to be the final one, but there's your winner in the number 7. I'm sure cheering himself on, and yeah, you can see him celebrating now as he drifts it out of the hairpin. That's going to take us to a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
There's a bear in the woods. Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty. I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there. Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, a bit of...
Oh, you know.
Singers, James, singers I've got.
My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys. Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it, feel it.
I might be going mad. Want to see me underwear?
Welcome back to Sebring International Raceway. The lights have turned off for a bit, but here we go. We've got pictures once again, and up at the front of it, Andrew Chinichi has taken the victory, his first of the season, his first of the series, actually. Edward Nelson was second behind him, and Michael Bolton finished P3 to round out your podium. Cigar Dewan actually was briefly in third, but couldn't cling to it, and then as soon as Michael took that spot back, basically ran away from that 501 machine. Doug Baccignoni also briefly looked and flirted at spraying the champagne today, but still gained 5 spots to finish P5 as Matt Hollander did one better for 6th. And Tom Layton, unfortunately, a mistake early in the race with a failed pass sent him down to the back of the field, and he only recovered to 7th. BJ Fulton was P8 and Jad Duncan was 9th. Drew Chawla rounds out your top 10.
Coming home in 11th, it was Jacob Abrams up 2 positions after suffering an early spin. Then it was Mark Rondeau and Michael Robon with Dylan Scott and Mehmet Karasay in 15th. John Momeyer was 16th, followed by Mark Bray, Jim Walsh, Jeff Shulam, and Larry Haas, who round out your top 20. Then it was Mike Parsons, the last driver to finish 1 lap down. Federico Del Toro and Michael Johnson, both DNFs on the day.
That'll take us to our winner, Andrew Chinichi, in the number 7. 3 straight podiums, and now one of them a win for our newcomer to this series. And Andrew, congratulations. Now, the rest of the race didn't look like it was all that entertaining, but the first lap gave you, I think, more than enough.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. I don't have like a super wide screen or anything like that, so half the time I don't really know what's going on around me. But I saw a purple car in my rear view, deep on the inside, and thankfully Tom, I think, was really clean on the outside, and we just kind of waited a beat, and that purple car went by, and then we got going.
Yeah, that was Michael Johnson, unfortunately, out breaking himself. Yeah, we're really glad that he didn't take out the leaders in that situation. But talk about that makes it more impressive that you don't have that wide of a field of view there, because you and Tom gave each other just enough space on those first couple corners.
Thanks to the spotter for telling me that there's still someone there. And plus, just I made a miss. I was too hot into turn one, and then it was fun to go side by side the whole time. And then going into, I guess it's turn 5, I had locked up and gone wide on so many outlaps there on cold tires, so I just knew, take it a little bit easy on that lap 1. But after that, I honestly kind of wish, Tom was back there pushing me. That would have been good fun.
Well, you missed the first 2 races, so you're going to have to lean on those drop weeks a little bit. If Tom is there at the next round to try and challenge you when we head out to Spa, do you think it's going to be a pretty good thriller?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Well, we look forward to it. Congratulations on the first win of the series, and can't wait to see for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Just want to thank my sponsors, Photo Workshop Adventures, Streamline, Juicehead, Titan Pacific Law, Create Emotion, and Ken Wong. Thank you guys for supporting me. And thank you guys, Global Sim Racing. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you. That was Andrew Chinichi, your winner here today, as DJ has caught up with third place finisher Michael Bolton.
Michael, a great run there out for you and a fantastic battle with Cigar Dewan. Talk us through that race.
What's up, guys? Man, that was the toughest race out of, I think, any season with the POC. What a blast. Cigar is an incredible driver, and didn't see him for the first couple laps after he got taken out, and made a little mistake exiting turn 1. Tried to just recover, got mobbed a little bit, and just tried to be consistent. Tried to pass Jacob, but I thought I would just be patient and see how the race came to me. And sure enough, he made a little mistake, and I was able to capitalize there. And then when Cigar got around Doug, it was really on. I was just trying to stay consistent, hit my marks, and really just focus, because I know he had the pace on me. And man, that was a great battle.
Yeah, it certainly was. It looked like a lot of fun. And you kind of hit on a point there. It looked like this car was a handful to drive today. How did you find it? I mean, was it all just about keeping it all in the black stuff?
Yeah, I mean, not locking it up, taking care of the tires. I mean, as Sebring presents the terrible surface, especially coming onto the front straight, it's hopping all around, and you really can't take too much curbs in this car. So I'm trying to stay off the curb, but yeah, I just really gave it everything I could, and I'm just happy to be on the podium.
Well, happy to be on the podium indeed. We head to another fantastic circuit next time out in the form of Spa. We think you can repeat there?
I love Spa. I think Johnson and I both love Spa. Last time we were there, I think he made a silly mistake going through, I forget what corner that's called, but just silly mistake. He looped it, and we had a really good battle there too. So yes, I am looking forward to Spa. That's one of my favorite tracks.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you there, my friend. Anybody you want to thank for today?
Definitely. My fantastic fiance, Gabby, our dogs, Hamilton and Monkey, for all the friends and family, the POC, Pineapple Grip, Speed Gallery. Couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Michael. That was Michael Bolton, your third place finisher here tonight. And Joe, it looks like you've been able to catch up with P2, Edward Nelson.
Indeed, Ed. It got a little bit tense there at the end. Were you at all worried that Michael might catch her? Or did you feel like you had it under control?
No, I was definitely worried. I was kind of trying to save fuel there for a little bit because I wasn't sure if we had to stop or not. And then I just gave up too much time.
That explains. We were wondering why he was running you down. Then suddenly you seemed to respond. You kind of fell into that second place a little bit, but are you the type that is you don't look a gift horse in the mouth when you get those sort of easy podiums?
Yeah, for sure. That was, Andrew, Tom, all the guys that were up front are really fast. So I was fortunate that there was a couple mishaps, and I just tried to take care of my tires in the car, and fate had it that I'd finish second tonight.
Now, if I'm seeing the stats correctly, this is your first race this season, correct?
Yes, I just joined their club last week, like last Tuesday. So this is my first race with them.
Well, welcome. Quite the start. He started out on the podium. Last guy to do that, Andrew Chinichi, is just taking his first win. So are you on course for a win 2 races from now?
Oh, I'd love to have that. But I got a lot of practice to do if I'm going to keep up with Andrew and Tom. And, there was Mark Rondo, a couple other guys that in practice there was a group of us that were a couple, like a tenth or so apart. And then Andrew and Tom were like in a different, I don't know, universe. They went really fast. I don't know how they do it, but that was amazing.
Well, still, I think you sell yourself short. You did admirably out there today with a comfortable second place. Anybody you want to thank before you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the guys that helped me. Joe Stiffel, Dewey Kang, David Kaufman, a couple other guys that I race with in other leagues, and they've helped me along in my sim racing career.
Well, that's great stuff there. That's Ed Nelson, who finished second today after starting from third. Clearly is on a good trajectory here at the start of his career in the POC. That's going to wrap us up, though. Before we go, we want to thank the sponsors, of course, which includes Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Game Changer Wealth, helping you become a game changer with wealth. Contact them today at GameChangerBR.com or 225-664-2565. Thanks to the team today, DJ Zach and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, website, and merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. As we mentioned, the next race 2 weeks from now will be at Spa Classic. It'll be Monday, March 13th, 11 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to check out our other broadcasts listed here, but until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.